Good morning, Stacks University. Look, man, today we are bringing smart money, bro. Once again, this is what y'all like to see. As I always say, if y'all have any other YouTubers y'all want to see me react to on this financial tip of things, please let me know down below in the comment section. Today's video is going to be the biggest wealth killers in your 20s and 30s. Avoid these. We love watching these videos because we love to get the knowledge and not also get the knowledge, but also apply it to our own lives. And I will also be giving my own personal perspective on the things that he does talk about in this video. So if y'all have any tips, any videos y'all want to see, leave them down below. Let me know your financial journey and where you at now down below in the comment section. Let's go.
Now you want to go out and buy a house? You can't. You want to get that asset called a piece of rental property? You can't, because you have poor credit because you co-signed for somebody who really needed your help and pulled on your heartstrings. Don't co-sign. Don't be mad at me. I'm just telling you the truth. Been there, done that. Guys, I've personally made some insane mistakes with money over the years. From foreclosing on properties to running up a credit card bill, overdrafting checks, bad credit, keeping student loans into my 50s. Look, I've made a lot of mistakes with money over the years, but I've also made a lot of good decisions with money as well. What I want to do on this video is I want to try to help you avoid some of the mistakes that I've made in the past. If you're in your 20s or 30s or maybe even your early 40s and you're watching this video, this will give you some things to watch out for that I experienced that you don't have to go through. So guys, your first big wealth killer in your 20s and 30s is financing cars. In my opinion, you need to try to avoid car payments. And you don't have to buy brand new cars. Look, buying a new car with payments on it just burdens you in the long term. With higher monthly payments, you have a car that's depreciating in value, going down in value, and of course you're paying interest payments. And you may say, well, I get a really low interest rate. I get it, but you're still making payments on something that is going,
and you're paying for it more than what it's actually worth because you're paying that interest, but you're also, losing value in the car because, like he said, it depreciates as soon as you leave the parking lot. I've been trying to learn on how to like buy good used cars and just been on TikTok scrolling to see like what year, makes and model, like Hondas, Toyotas, all that kind of stuff, 2016, 17s. But the main thing when you get a used car, you have to inspect it real good, probably take it to a mechanic, get them to put it up on the lift and then look under it. I learned it from him actually. And then I've seen people on TikTok say the same thing. But man, you find with a little beater as they call it. Yeah.
Down in value. You can easily buy reliable used cars with cash and not have to worry about an ongoing payment. And don't worry about how you look to other people. It doesn't matter. So avoid financing cars and avoid that new car. You really don't need it. Now, the second biggest wealth killer in your 20s and 30s is racking up this credit card debt. Look, let it go. Change your lifestyle. Change the way you think about credit cards. There's nothing wrong with having a credit card, right? If you have a credit card and you can pay it off quickly every single month, but you just want to use it because you want to build up some type of credit history, I'm not mad at you, but just use it for things like groceries or things like gas for your car, things that you have the money for, but don't use the credit card for stuff that you don't need and for things that you don't have the money to pay for.
I made the mistake when I got my first credit card. I went and bought something stupid. It was like $800. I didn't even have $800 in savings when I bought this thing. I just said, yeah, over time I'll pay it off. This is a smart purchase. One of the dumbest things I ever did, and I was in credit card debt probably for like a year and a half, 2 years. And not saying that I still am in credit card debt now, but it's not as much as it was because I am making more money from doing different things. But like he said, if you can't pay the balance off at the end of the month or, whenever that minimum payment is due, don't pay the minimum payment because you end up paying so much in interest. These credit cards hold like 30% interest. Mine, it has a rate of about 28.5, so 29%. Absolutely crazy. So I'm paying about 40 some dollars in interest per month. Ooh.
This is where everybody gets into an issue with credit cards. Me, myself, I actually built up credit card debt before too. I understand it's easy to do. That's one of the reasons that in 2011, I stopped using credit cards. I haven't used a credit card since. And I found a way to live without this safety net of a credit card. But carrying a balance over from month to month, you're just paying a whole bunch of interest. And you really don't realize it. Credit card interest can be 20 and 30%. And people just don't realize it. It just becomes a part of their regular monthly payment. Leave the credit cards alone. And if you want to use them, use them responsibly. But in the wrong hands, a credit card will destroy your wealth. Now, the third wealth killer for people in the 20s and 30s is skipping over the 401k match. If you have a job here in America, if you have a job that offers a 401k, a retirement plan, and they match it, please get the match. Don't leave the match. The match is there for a reason. It helps you. It's almost like free money. Don't leave money on the table by not getting your 401k match.
And then when you become fully vested at your job, you're able to transfer that 401k over into, another job's payment plan that might offer the same thing. I started my 401k as soon as I graduated college and I became full time at my current job that I'm at now. And man, if you just let it pull that money out each check, you won't even notice it. You can start off small, like 4%. That's what I started off, and now I think I'm up to like 7 now. So they take 7% out of my check and then match it on top of that. So they just throw that into that retirement account, and of course they tax it whenever you do end up retiring. But that's why also you need to be investing in like stocks, other things on the side. Roth IRA is doesn't get taxed, I'm pretty sure. So man, just do what I'm telling you because that money racks up quick. Like it's so much money.
Getting the match
Yeah.
is something that you will regret when you get 10 or 20 or 30 years out from now. You'll say, boy, I wish I had got the match sooner, or at least got the match. Listen, don't leave free money on the table. Now, speaking of investing in 401ks, the fourth wealth killer is just not investing enough money at a young age, right? A lot of times what happens is when we're in our 20s and 30s, we don't see or think about the fact that we're going to be 50 and 60 one day, and we're going to need the money that we've accumulated at a young age at that time. So we don't put a lot of emphasis on investing more so that we'll have more down the road. And I'm saying that's a huge wealth killer, and I'm guilty of it, not investing enough. For many years, I only put 5% of my
I think like per year, a safe number is at least 25% of your annual income. I'm reading a book called Millionaire Next Door, and they talk about how some people they make so much money, but they really don't invest anything because their overhead is just so high and they don't have any money to invest. These people are making six figures per year, and they still not investing at all, and they're you know living in lifestyle inflation and just funding a lifestyle that they really down the line they're going to be working for the rest of their lives because they don't have any type of structure or budgeting plan or anything. But as he said, man, you need to invest, even if it is a little starting out, because compound interest will be on your side. I am telling you, bro. I'm 26 years old and wish I would have started when I was like 20 or 21. Even though this is my first real corporate job that I've, ever had, I still wish I would have started saving and investing in like, 2020 when COVID was around, when Bitcoin was low. You know what I mean? But it's okay. The best time to start is now if you haven't started already, for sure.
income towards my job's retirement. And that was a big, big mistake because I probably lost out on $500,000, maybe $1 million or more by not putting enough in. And I'm saying when you're young, stretch yourself, push yourself, take it to the limit and do as much as you can in terms of investing more and more money. Because the more you invest at a young age, the more you're going to have at an older age. You got to let compound interest work for you. And the younger you are, the less you have to put in to get that money to work hard for you down the road. If you wait until you're 40 and 45 and 50 years old to want to catch up, it's very, very difficult. So while you're in your 20s and 30s, stretch. Put as much in as possible, and you'll see the results ultimately down the road. Now, the fifth wealth killer for people in their 20s and 30s, and I'm really guilty of this one too, is accumulating student loans and keeping those student loans around for way too long. Look, when you borrow excessively for your education or trying to get a higher degree or more skills that you borrow money for, whether it's college or trade school, whatever, you gotta consider the return on your investment. In other words, you don't wanna go in debt from student loans $200,000 with a degree in social work. You gotta be thinking about these things and whether or not you wanna
$200,000 in debt with a social work degree is absolutely crazy. I think, everybody who, pursues an education, some people are fortunate enough their parents pay for their education, but most of us do have to take student loans out. I am a person who does owe student loans, probably like 29,000 or something like that, which is not crazy. I've heard worse. I know people who owe 100,000 worth, and they don't have very great degrees. Not saying I have the best one, but mine is manageable. And of course, I'm attacking it. I'm paying more than the monthly payment because I want to beat interest, and I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way by the time I'm 30. You know what I mean? But I feel like in the past when I had debt, I just wasn't really attacking it and I was just kind of avoiding it, which made it worse down the line. I feel like as long as you have a plan and you're consistent with it, it'll show up. Like it'll really help you in the future, trust me. But make sure you know what you want to go to school for and don't change your major 3 or 4 times like me because you'll be in a lot of debt, man, for real. He ain't lying.
Get your master's and your doctorate degree or whatever, your higher degree, is it going to be worth the money that you have to spend on it and then the debt that you're going to be accumulating to get it? Look, if you have to, go to a community college for a couple of years. I've never had an employer say, hey, where did you go to school as a freshman and sophomore in college? That doesn't matter. When you go to a community college, you're getting the same 60 credit hours that you'd be getting at a much more expensive college, but you're getting.
And the thing is, too, I went to community college, and that's where I started off, which was one of the best things I ever did. I didn't have to, take student loans out to pay anything. But also, they had my major there that I wanted to do, which was like a form of engineering, but I just wanted to move off in order to, grow as an individual, which that in terms, I don't think I would be where I'm at if I didn't, leave home and experience this myself. So I'll take the debt with all the knowledge that I have now. Like it was worth it to me. But to some people, accumulating that kind of debt may not be worth it for you. I had to do what I had to do to pay the bills, man. No cap.
At a local community college or go to college slower. Instead of taking 4 years to get a bachelor's, pay cash and make it take 6 years or 7 years or even 8 years. Look, those extra years that you spend in school working and paying for college are better than coming out of college with a 4-year degree in 4 years and having to owe $30 and $40 and $60,000. And if you get loans to go to college or get some type of degree or certification, pay them off as fast as possible. Don't let them sit around and wait on the federal government's program that may or may not be there to pay them off for you. Now listen, some people have done that and it's worked out great. Other people have waited around and it hasn't worked out great. Pay down your student loans as quick as possible. As I said, I had student loans until I was in my 50s. You don't want that. I had student loans for 31 years. You don't want that. Trust me. Now, the sixth wealth killer is just buying all these gadgets and all of these
New
upgrades in technology or upgrades for your cell phones every year or two. Look, you may think it's not much. I just went out and got a cell phone about 8 or 9 months ago. Cost me about $1,500. Look, if I go and replace that every year or every 2 years, that's $1,500 a year that I could be putting somewhere else, putting in an investment, putting in a stock or ETF or something different. And that's just one upgrade.
Damn.
If I do that with several things, right, it becomes a wealth killer trying to put $2,000 and $3,000 and $5,000 into upgrades on everything that I have every single year or two. And you may not be saving tons of money by not getting the latest upgrade. But at the same time, when you don't get the latest upgrade on whatever you're trying to upgrade, it also teaches you delayed gratification. It teaches you patience.
If you really want something that bad in your mind, just wait a week or two and then see if you still want it. Because I promise you, that excitement you feel for that new gadget or new product that you want, once you let it sit, you actually end up forgetting about it, man, because all the phones do the same thing. Just a few new features. Maybe you might change the camera, it might move a little faster, but ain't nothing wrong with the one you got. I did end up getting a new phone, but I had my same phone for like 5 or 6 years. So just know, man, like these cell phone companies do charge you interest when you get these new phones, and it might not seem like a lot when they say, hey, you could just add this on your plan and upgrade it, and it's only gonna be $10 extra a month. That $10 over time, over 4 years, you do the math.
So it has far-reaching consequences to actually wait before you upgrade stuff or wait before you get the latest gadget, right? It teaches you more about building wealth on top of saving you money. Now, the seventh wealth killer is one I may get pushed back on, and that's okay. It's overspending on living situations. The biggest expense that we all have is where we're going to lay our head at night, our shelter, right? And I know that paying for rents nowadays is expensive, at least here in America. Just a couple of years ago, rents went way up, and they've stayed way up. And it can be hard to find a place to live that is safe and has good schools to send your kids to. Look, I understand all of that. But when you pay too much for rent or where you live, it leaves less and less room for growing your money and investments and building wealth. You may have to get a little more creative about your living situation. Maybe it's moving back home with parents. Maybe it's living with friends and family. Maybe it's living with roommates, right? Maybe just for a short time while you save up money to buy a home. The days are over that everybody can afford a place to live by themselves. So sometimes you're gonna have to do what you gotta do in your 20s and 30s to save some money somehow to either get out of debt, invest.
I got 4 roommates, bro. Like, and my rent is probably like 600 something, which is insane for a 4 bedroom. Like, it's been going up every year. I think it started off at like 525, but man, I could even imagine if I paid like, $1,500, $2,000 for rent, bro. Like, I would not be able to afford it, but that's why I plan on having a roommate or roommates for as long as I possibly can, because who cares about living expenses, bro? As long as you got somewhere to lay your head at, man, I don't think, having the nicest luxury penthouse or, nicest home is, always important, because with renting, you don't have to pay for maintenance as far as like an apartment is what I'm gonna say. You got maintenance, we got a gym, you saving money on gym memberships. Like, they come in and fix everything for you. You ain't having to buy all this stuff, and that's more money coming out of your pocket that you could be using to invest. That's one thing that I'm very thankful for is, you know, paying this rent and utilities included and all that good stuff, and we got maintenance. Like, I don't have to worry about going outside and cranking up a damn llama or paying somebody to do it. You know what I mean?
Invest more money or buy a home and get to a different level in terms of your personal finances. It may mean a year or two of sacrifice or 3 or 4 years of living with other people, whatever it takes. Another wealth killer is overspending on vacations. Look, I know we all want to take that cruise. We all want to sit on the beach somewhere. We all want to travel over to Greece and over to Dubai and hang out, relax, and have some fun. But listen, guys, splurging on luxury travel or frequently booking these expensive vacations, a lot of times those things are fine and dandy, but you got to remember you're paying something for those. Not just today, but a little bit is coming off the top for later on down the road for you. You're losing some of your ability to build some wealth, right? So you got to understand that kicking it today affects tomorrow. And sometimes it's really hard to see that when you're in your 20s and your 30s. You're not really looking at the fact that one day you'll be in your 50s and you'll be wishing you had some of that money back. Nothing wrong with getting these experiences. I'm all for that. That's okay. But just understand what's being sacrificed.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Yeah, I know we want to look good on our vacations and all that good stuff. We want to spend some relaxing time away from it all. And we all want to get the loves and the likes on the social media platforms that we're on. But just remember, there's a sacrifice for overpaying or spending too much or spending a lot on these luxury vacations that we all tend to want to go on. Guys, if you get value from this video, please smash the like button below. And please consider subscribing to this channel if you're not already a subscriber. And also, don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, the 9th wealth killer for people in their 20s and 30s is day trading, gambling, and trying the get-rich-quick schemes. You gotta be patient. It takes time to build wealth.
Man, I tried gambling. I tried gambling for like a month or two, and it wasn't even the money I was losing that I was mad about. It was more of, what am I trying to say? Me being angry and my mood towards the whole day just because I lost a NBA game or something like that. I feel like my mental health is more valuable than money. So that's why I quit gambling. And in the end, like, some people do make a killing off of it, but also sports are rigged. We know that now because everything is about a get rich quick money scheme, or people is just selling bullshit, bro, because they show you that they make so much money, but in return, they really end up losing a lot, man. So I would just say be careful with sports betting. I've never been a gambler. I have never played a slot machine or anything at the casino. My grandma do it all the time, but I really would like to know how much she spent or how much she's lost at the casino because she had been going since I was little and she still goes to this day.
It's not done overnight. It's not something you can just flip the script and all of a sudden you got a bunch of money. Look, it doesn't work that way. It may work that way on TV, social media, certain YouTubers, but in real life, for most of us, it's going to take some time. And get rich quick violates so many principles that it just doesn't make sense to rely on that or to chase that. Listen, there's nothing wrong with day trading. If you can day trade and you feel comfortable that you are putting the money up that you can lose, there's a lot of day trading that has made people lots of money. But there's a lot of people that day trade that have lost a ton of money. So you gotta be careful with the get rich quick schemes. They're out there more now than ever before. And they look good, right? You get on a YouTube channel and this person is saying all the right things. They got the right personality. You kind of feel a bond with them and you like what they're saying and how they're saying it. Next thing you know, you're dropping $1,000 for a course or you're dropping $5,000 for some one-on-one mentorship. But listen, don't try to get rich quick. Leave the gambling and some of the day trading and this making money fast, leave that stuff alone. Look, it's not a prerequisite that you mess up money in your 20s and 30s by following some get rich quick scheme or by putting all your cash in here or there. You don't have to do that. Now, number 10, the 10th wealth killer in your 20s and 30s is co-signing for other people. Look, I know you want to help other people out. You got a heart to help out your friends, your family, and all these people. But look, co-signing can be a huge.
I had somebody who asked me to co-sign for them a vehicle, man. And 3 months down the line, that vehicle got repossessed, and I didn't end up co-signing for him. And I thank God that I did not do that, man. Helping out other people really can hurt you bad, man. For real. Don't co-sign for nothing. I even had somebody try to get me to co-sign for them a weapon or something. And I'm like, bruh, like, if you end up doing something crazy with that, and then get in legal trouble, that's gonna come back to my name. You have to take care of you at the end of the day because everybody's situation, they put themselves in that. It's not your job to dig them out of that hole, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Huge mistake. Listen, give and help as many people as you can. It's all good. But don't attach your name to loans and co-sign for other people. I don't suggest it. Co-signing for friends and family, it puts you on the hook for other people's financial obligations and other people's financial abilities and capabilities and responsibilities. It's not yours, but you can potentially damage your credit to a point where now you want to go out and buy a house, you can't. You want to get that asset called a piece of rental property, you can't because you have poor credit because you co-signed for somebody who really needed your help and pulled on your heartstrings. Don't co-sign. Now, the 11th wealth killer you got to be careful about in your 20s and 30s is falling for this I make more money, so I spend more money. It'll get you every time. Thinking that every time you get a raise, great, now I'm gonna go out and spend more money on something. You may not think about that consciously, but it happens if you're not careful and intentional with your money, right? But when you live in a way that says that when I make more money, I'm gonna spend more money, guess what happens? You stay lower middle class for the rest of your life, right? Because if your spending goes up every time your salary goes up, or every time you make more money, what's the point? This is why people who make $100,000 and $150,000 a year, this is why they feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. And they still feel poor. Yes, inflation went up and the cost of living went up, right? But a lot of people that make more money every year, they just spend more money on things that they don't have to spend more money on. You may have to spend more money for goods and services and the things that you buy. But oftentimes, you're taking more vacations when you make more money. You're buying more shoes when you make more money. Matter of fact, you're buying a higher quality of shoe when you're making more money. And you're doing the things that you don't have to do, but you choose to do because you make more money and you feel like, hey, I'm working too hard and making too much money to be spending the same that I was spending 5 years ago. You live by that mantra, then guess what? You're gonna stay right where you're at.
Been thinking about grad school, but wondering if it's actually worth it? This might be for you. UMGC is waiving their
right in that middle class. Now, the 12th wealth killer to be careful about in your 20s and 30s is not paying your bills on time, right? This also runs your credit down. And you gotta be careful because you wanna have that credit to actually buy assets at some point. So pay your bills on time. It may feel a little rough right now, but you're benefiting by making sure that you have better credit down the road. You want to stay conscientious of your credit in your 20s and 30s. And it's just the right thing to do to pay your bills on time. Value your name. Value your credibility in general, not just for the sake of having good credit, but for the sake of being in the habit of doing the right things with your money and paying your bills on time with your money. It's just a good habit to have. Now, the 13th thing that is a wealth killer in your 20s and 30s is the club and the bar. Hanging out at the bar, hanging out at the club. That's a good way to lose a lot of money and lose a lot of time. Think about it. You spend $200 a month at the bar or the club, and that $200 a month is about $2,400 a year.
Hey man, I used to be somebody who always wanted to be outside at every function, every weekend, spending a lot of money, and it does add up. Anytime I got paid, I was like, it's time to go turn up. And it was all fun on social media, all that kind of good stuff. But I'm glad I got out of that mindset quick, real quick. But like you said, you're losing out on a lot of money, and also you're killing your health by drinking so much every weekend. And if you're trying to build wealth, you have to have your health in order to enjoy it. So replace the bar with the gym or something productive like reading, doing anything active, and then do your little side hustle. And I promise you, in a couple of years, you're gonna be thankful.
And over the course of 10 years, that's about $24,000. Now, if you take that same $24,000 over the course of that 10 years and you put a 8 or 9% return on investment on it because you invested it instead of spending it at the club or in the bar, that $24,000 may be closer to $35,000 to $40,000. Well, here's the deal. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, right? But you also spent time doing those things. So the 3 or 4 hours you spent doing it, you could have been researching, learning, making money, creating something, doing your side hustle, building your business, getting more knowledge, right? Look, it's nothing wrong with having fun. Having fun is a good thing. But remember, the club, the bar is costing you money, and it's costing you time. And those are two things that.
And then you got to pay to get in before you even make it to the bar. That's the main thing. Don't let a big event be going on or something. Them prices at the door gonna be about $100 to get in, and you ain't even gonna want to drink. You're gonna be sick to your stomach.
That you're always gonna want more of when you get older. You talk to a person who's 50, 60, 70 years old. The thing that they're gonna wish they had more of is money and time. And guess what? Money and time is what you spend in your 20s and 30s when you're hanging out at the bar or you're hanging out at the club. Don't be mad at me. I'm just telling you the truth. Been there, done that. Look, the deal is this. There's wealth killers that are out there for you in your 20s and 30s, just waiting on you to spend money on them. You got to make intentional financial decisions. Always be focused on your long-term goals, your vision. Whatever that is, always stay true to that vision. In your 20s and 30s, I challenge you to have enough nerve to be different. You see the crowd go left, consider going right. If you see the crowd go right, you need to strongly think about going left. But these are the wealth killers in your 20s and 30s that you gotta avoid. Guys, if you got value from this video, smash that like.
Great video. Great. I'm gonna hit the button for my boy. Sometimes people just need to hear this, man. Like, stop wasting your time, stop wasting your money, because you're going to be older a lot longer than you are younger. Utilize this time to your advantage. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've made these same mistakes, and I'm 26, and I'm glad that I learned when I did, because I got it before my 30s. So, hey, remember, compound interest is on your side. As long as you take care of your wealth and your health, you're going to be good, man. I'm out of here. Peace.